Hi guys, welcome to our next podcast of Black Yarning. Today I've got the wonderful Taylor Hampton, who's joined us for a bit of a yarn. Hey Taylor, how you going?
Yeah, good, bud. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Good. It's good that we can connect.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's good to talk to you, mate.
Yeah, so let our listeners know a little bit about yourself. Tell me a bit about yourself.
So as you said, my name's Taylor Hampton. I'm Ngiyampaa Wiradjuri man. Born and bred in a small country town of West Wyalong, probably, a good 3,800 people. Grew up there until I was about 22 and then moved to Albury Wodonga with my partner, now fiancee. Work at a statewide organisation, delivering cultural training, both internally, externally. I run a business, going into preschools and schools, delivering culture workshops, very simplified, generalised information, but just enough for the kids to be able to grab onto and take away. I enjoy footy. Very, very passionate about sharing, delivering, and experiencing culture all round. I've got two kids, so I try and embed them. Embed the culture as much as I can with them and allow them to embrace it, whichever way they would like to. And it's been a wild ride, but it's been a great experience nonetheless. I think that's pretty much about me, really. I just keen to get out there, really.
Yeah. So, how old are your kids right now?
Ella is 4.5, and Arlo is 1, so he's probably about 16, 17 months now. Yeah, just started walking, so he's just running around.
Because our listeners might not know that I've known you for quite a number of years.
Yes.
Before you actually had kids. So,
absolutely, yeah.
And it does show that COVID, I haven't been up to see you at all in the last 4 years. So
it's crazy. Yes, yeah. No, it was good. I think when we first met, developing out that training for a previous organisation. I think when I met you, I think that kind of the work that you were doing and what you were able to share with me kind of sparked my interest in going out and doing my own thing. So I don't think if I didn't meet you, I don't think I would have had the passion to go out and do that work, because it's really important stuff. So the work that you've been doing is great. So I've kind of you've kind of inspired me a little bit to get out there and do my own thing and be a part of the community and do that cultural work. So, just wanted to put that out there.
Well, I may have lit the spark, but you definitely soared with it. That's for sure.
No, thanks, mate.
But tell us about the book you've written.
Yeah, so me and my fiance, we wrote a book, and it's called Our Mob. And the inspiration behind it actually comes from the workshops that we've been doing in the preschools and the schools. And one of our very first workshops, it was way back in 2019. I did a workshop in a preschool down here in Albury, and while I was sharing I think I was doing showing some artifacts, one of the kids actually popped his hand up and said that he's never met an Aboriginal person before. And that kind of took me back a little bit. And I said, well, of course you have, because you're meeting me. I said, I'm very proud Aboriginal man. I'm very proud Ngiyampaa Wiradjuri man. I talk about culture and I'm sharing my knowledge. And a week later, so I was doing a weekly thing with that preschool. And a week later, another kid told one of the teachers that I didn't know that I could say that I was Aboriginal. He was Aboriginal, but he said I didn't know I could say it because all the books that they have all show black fellas as dark-skinned with lap spears, which are great books, don't get me wrong, but it doesn't show what people look like today and what kids can do in practice culture in today's society. And so, he said, because Taylor is proud in his, culture, that was pretty much what he was trying to say, he's proud in his culture and he looks just like me, being fair-skinned. I can say I'm Aboriginal, and I can say that I'm proud. And so that kind of inspired us to kind of go a bit further and do a bit of research and finding out what kind of books are out there that show Aboriginal people as, not just dark skin, but also light skin as well. And there wasn't a lot of children's books that showed that. So we were able to, we wrote this little manuscript out just based off the workshop that we were doing. Reached out to an illustrator, Chantel Walsh, deadly woman. She's from Noongar country, beautiful artist. She's created the women's rugby Australian team's Guernsey as well. So she's quite well known, especially in WA. And so from there, it just kind of sparked all that. We then wanted to include, many different mobs all across Australia. And so, the last 3 and a bit years, we've been consulting, messaging, emailing, calling elders, traditional owners, organisations, community members. I've got family, just making sure that we can get that appropriate permission and endorsement from those mobs to be able to put their stories and their country in the book. It even has hello or welcome in language on top of the pages as well. And what we want to show and what we want to share is that kids today can be proud of who they are, no matter what color their skin is. And it shows that there's, we can still practice culture in today's society. The culture is not lost, and it shows what kind of things kids do, whether in their backyard or going camping or, just painting or singing and dancing. It shows all these different activities that different mobs do. And some of the pages have a specific to their mob, the activity that's specific to their mob as well. And, we're really excited to get it out. And, when we got the email from our publicist saying it's ready to go, it's in printing, it's going to be published in May, get promoting. And we were just, in absolute shock and excited and scared all at the same time. We're just really excited to get it out there. And what's fitting, it's going to be released on my birthday. So it's going to be a really good birthday present for me, which I didn't even plan that at all. So it was really good to see that as well.
Yeah. I just love the title, like Our Mobs. It's so inclusive.
Yeah. We had a few different names up in the air a little bit, but Our Mob just really stuck. And it just kind of resonated a lot because it's not just one mob, it's everyone's mob that's in this. And I think we have like 14 different traditional countries in the book. And, I've got one page is Ngiyampaa, which is my grandfather's mob. The other page is Wiradjuri, which is my grandmother's mob. And what the artist Chantel has been able to do, she's used, some photos of me, of Ella, of Arlo, and even my dad. And she's created us as characters in the book as well. So our kids will be able to grow up seeing that book and seeing that's me, that's my pop, that's dad, So the rest are fictional characters, but we just wanted to have our kids in there so when they open it up, they can see them as well. So I'm thinking it's also, for the kids, they can just see different kids with different skin colors and that looks like me, and they're practicing culture, we can be proud kind of thing. That's the vision that we have anyway. But we've had a lot of positive feedback already, and people are saying they've pre-ordered, and so I'm really keen to get it out there.
Yeah. And you've also been really busy with artwork that I've noticed, and the mobile phone covers as well.
Yeah, mobile phone covers. Yeah, so I've been seeing a lot of stuff on follow TikTok, and a lot of people doing like sublimation phone cases and putting their designs on phone cases, and I thought that'd be something pretty cool I could do. So I bought myself an iPad and just a drawing app, and just been doing some drawing on the iPad, and finally I bought a printer, bought a heat press, and now I'm just starting to put some stuff in together, and people are ordering the phone cases now, so it's really exciting. I think for me, artwork is just an outlet for me. It's just like a nice way just to relax and calm my mind. It's very therapeutic, and the good thing about doing it on the iPad, I can just rub it out if I make a mistake, but I still do, painting and stuff, but it's, I think it's just really calming to do some stuff. And then when people purchase your artwork, it's a really good feeling to get that feedback saying how, even the stories, how it resonates with them. And it's good.
That's good. How long you've been working with kids? I want our listeners to know what you actually do in schools.
Yeah. So, I've been working for kids for a lot of years. I started when I finished year 12. I was actually lucky enough to get a traineeship as a teacher's aide, and it's an Aboriginal scholarship back at home in West Wyalong, and it was actually even like I think it was the finished year 12 in term 3, and I started working as a teacher's aide in term 4. at a local primary school. And so I've been working with kids since I was a good, 18 years old. I was in sports. I was a coach as well, playing, while I was playing footy. And then I moved away to pursue a career in youth work. Went to TAFE, studied Cert 4 and Diploma in Youth Work. And, I think my whole career has been working with young people in different capacities, mainstream Aboriginal organisations, and then personally as well, of course, with my business. So I've been running the business since 2019. And I think for that, it was good for me and my fiance. We had a good balance. I obviously had the knowledge of sharing culture. She also had the knowledge of childcare. So she's a childcare worker. So I wasn't very great with working with children, young people like teenagers. I'm pretty well. I thought I could work with them pretty well, but children, I had no idea. So I had to have her along to be able to teach me the different ways to interact with children and the ways, you need to change up your style if their attention span's a little bit short, and, you need to really think on your feet. So, she's been able to teach me different things to work around that kind of, issue with the attention span. And, but it's been good, been doing all that. And what I enjoy about that is it's not just specific about, my mob or any traditional country. It's wherever I'm going, it's very simple. Like I said at the start, very simple, get simplified, very generalized culture. What's a ditch, what's clapsticks, let's do some bit of painting on boomerangs. So, I make dowel out of, like, clapsticks out of dowel. We have art boomerangs and just do a lot of painting, singing, dancing, have a lot of fun. And I like to call it my little breadcrumbs. Give them little breadcrumbs so that they can then, if they're young Aboriginal children, they can go on their own little pathway. They can take that home and they can, talk about it, come back next week, do another activity. I think that there was another preschool where I was going on a Thursday and one of the kids said, it's not Thursday anymore, it's Taylor Day. They were so excited for me to come. And I was only going there for an hour and a half, but, in that hour and a half, they were really engaged. And, some of the feedback I even got from the educators was that some of the kids that are, not the best behaved children, they sat down for the whole time, listened, engaged, and they were so surprised at how much they engaged and how much, they were able to retain in the terms of the knowledge. And, that right there is enough for me to go that, we're doing the right thing and doing a good thing with these kids and they're really enjoying it. So, it's good.
So you started your business in 2019, just before something called the pandemic. If people hadn't heard of that coronavirus that apparently went around.
Yes.
How did that impact on your business?
It was near and miss, really. It was a hit and miss. So we, it was all fine, 2019, and then obviously the pandemic hit. And I think the rules in terms of the education is they could have certain visitors or they can have a certain number of people. You need to make sure that you do your COVID check, all those kind of things prior to entering. I need to make sure I had my COVID safe plan already so that I had something to show to the educator, show to the preschool that, I'm following the protocols of, being COVID safe. There were times where obviously the children or someone in the centre got COVID and then they had to shut down, so I wouldn't be able to go back there. And then sometimes I got COVID, so I wasn't able to go. So there was a lot of different barriers we had to cross, but I think because they were still operating during that time, I was able to go in and still do the work. And then if there was a kid sick or if I was feeling unwell, I just need to let them know that I wasn't going to come in because I'm not feeling that well, and just follow the steps. And if I missed a workshop 1 week, then I'd make it up in another week that would suit them. So they were really flexible and they were really supportive of the whole different process and the changes. I think all in all, it didn't change a lot, but it was still, you still had to kind of think around how you can manage it if someone was sick or if I was sick or if my kids are sick. And like I said, if I missed a week or if they're unable for me to come in, then we would just make that week up. Whether it was following term or at the end of the term, they were pretty flexible around that as well. Yeah.
Yeah, tell me growing up, how much culture were you exposed to?
Not a lot. You know, as you know, I hear people, you know, my age and a couple of years younger, a little obviously older people as well, that there wasn't a lot of education around Aboriginal culture growing up in schools. My dad wasn't able to teach me much, you know, because he was growing up in the times where you weren't allowed to speak a language, weren't allowed to practice your culture, and if you did, you'd be punished for it. So, you know, he wasn't able to teach, you know, me and my brothers much about his experience because it wasn't a great experience. So, you know, it must have hurt him a little bit that he couldn't teach us that kind of stuff. And you know, when I was going into schools, going to school as a kid, you know, there was me, my brothers, a couple of other Aboriginal families. But when it came to like the significant dates, reconciliation, NAIDOC week, there wasn't a lot of education around those times. There was no education prior. There was no education after. You know, back then the schools saw that as a funding statistic, more of a ticker box kind of situation, and they saw us as Aboriginal. So they said, Taylor, you and your brothers are Aboriginal. We'll handball you into these activities, and then go on your merry way. We didn't see that as a culturally, you know, a cultural event or anything significant to us. We saw that as a day out of class or a day out of school. And that went all the way through my schooling in my primary and high school. There wasn't a lot. So you know, I had to move away. Of course, you know, for professional reasons, but I also wanted to find who I was culturally as well and personally. So it wasn't until I moved to Albury where I was starting to become more involved with the Aboriginal community. You know, when I started working at the local ACO, I was getting really heavily involved in community, working with clients, and then, you know, meeting with elders, consulting with elders, and, you know, getting my name out there and sharing who I was, meeting family I've never met before. And then, you know, I was able to then educate myself, you know, research myself around the different barriers, issues, so then I can then, you know, be where I am today to, you know, be able to share some of the experiences I've experienced. So yeah, I mean, growing up there wasn't a lot. So I've only really started to find myself and create my journey, you know, probably started 2014 when I moved to Albury. So it's been nearly 10 years where I've really where I pretty much created my pathway and started my journey to where I am now. But prior to that, there wasn't a lot. You know, I had, you know, as you would probably well know, you know, you get teased a lot at school, and you know, I was teased from people I now call my mates because they grew up and they're able to educate themselves and ask me questions. So they've come to me and they've apologized, and, you know, how, you know, crap it was for everyone at school. And so, you know, we've been able to reconcile and you know, I'm able to share my experiences and with my now mates, and they're really good mates of mine now, because they've been able to do their own research, educate themselves around what's okay and what's not appropriate. And then, you know, if they ask me questions, I'm able to answer them because I've got the answers.
What's some tips and strategies you'd give to people that don't know much about culture? Where do they start looking?
I would, I think first and foremost, if you're not sure, just ask. That's the one thing that I really want to, are you doing my work is one of the strategies is just ask. If you don't know, ask, because if you don't ask, you're not going to know. Not only that, but it's just going to be swept under the rug, and that's not what we want. So whether it comes to asking, how do you identify, or, you know, asking who your mob is or where you come from, you know, asking in a respectful way that's open and authentic. And if you can do that, then you'll get a respectful response back. When it comes to where's the best place to start looking, go to your local Aboriginal organisation, you know, go to the government websites, you know, do the solid research. Don't go on just like Facebook and find all that stuff, because you're not going to get the right information. But, you know, if you do your research and you speak to the right people, whether it's going to community events, whether it's going to speaking to elders, or, you know, going to the local Aboriginal organisation, even land councils, you know, speaking to the right people there, I think just and then just do your own research as well, and finding out the right things to do when it comes to the those events. Come to the events and be an ally, and ask the questions, and buy some merch, and just be a part of that community, be a part of that change.
I've just written an article for the WSAW about what makes a good ally.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you, what tips would you say to non-Indigenous people? What does make a good ally?
Someone that listens and doesn't just assume that because you may be Aboriginal, but don't just assume that they're going to know everything. And if you ask a question they're not going to know, then that's okay. They may not have the answers, and don't just think that they're Aboriginal, they're going to have all the answers. And we're all on our individual learning journeys. For me, I don't preach to say I'm an expert, because I definitely am not an expert of the Aboriginal culture. It's a culture worth of over 60 to 80,000 years worth of rich history. So
and you haven't picked it all up in 10 years?
I'm trying. I am trying. No, I think, look, I think just be patient and listen to the stories, listen to the experiences. Because when you're able to do that and put your own personal bias aside, you can really hear the stories and to hear the history that we are able to tell and what we're able to share. Like I said, if you go to those events, any specific cultural events, be a part of it, but don't be right at the front. Just take a step back, have a look, see how people interact and engage with one another. And then if you're interested, ask the questions that are respectful and authentic, and showing that you really want to know. And if you're worried that it's going to come across as ignorant or offensive, own that. Just say, look, I'm sorry that if this comes across as offensive or if this comes across as ignorant, but I'm really interested to know. And then you ask the question. If you do that, and you do that in an authentic way, and it's open and honest, you'll get a respectful response back. One of the things that I've found is that blackfellas are very blunt to the point. If it's not the right thing, or you say the wrong thing, you're going to be told it's not the right thing. But more often than not, you'll be told how to do it properly, how to say it properly, and how to, approach the situation in a better way that's going to be respectful and take those advice and take what we say on board and use that to better yourself and so you can educate yourself.
Do you have any role models yourself?
I've got a couple. Personally, my cousin, she is the councillor for Wiradjuri region of the Land Council. So she works for the New South Wales Land Council. It's the councillor for the Wiradjuri region. Her name's Taylor Hampton. So shout out to you, cuz. She's been instrumental in the in my journey, because she's worked at the Land Council. She's practiced culture. She shares culture. Her partner does Welcome to Countries. He's very knowledgeable about all around culture. So it's both her and Linton, both of them. I ask them questions a lot, and they're able to answer me. And she's been able to provide me advice, especially around the book as well. I want to make sure that it's respectful for Wiradjuri mob as well. And so she's been able to give me some advice, throughout my whole life as well. When it comes to significant people, whether it comes sports stars, I've got Adam Goods and Mickey O'Loughlin. They've been, not only do I go for Swans, so that's, it's a given that I'd always follow them, but the work that they've done with the Go Foundation, the work that Adam's done with his, standing up for racism and all that kind of stuff comes together and has shown me the ways that we can all work together to stand up to what we believe in. And I think at that time, 2013, 2014 times, when I really started to find my feet in terms of what I needed to do to take my next step in my cultural journey. And, that was the times when Adam was booed and racially vilified on and off the football field. So to watch that and to experience that as I was taking my first steps in my cultural journey, I think that was really pinnacle in the ways that I wanted to go and what I wanted to do with myself. So I think there are a couple. I've got a elder down here, Uncle Tony. He's been a very strong influence on me in what I want to know, and I was lucky enough to be a part of a documentary a few years ago, and I was able to sit with him and ask him questions about his upbringing, about his life and what he had to endure as a black fellow in white society in the time. So hearing from his experiences as well also shaped the way that I wanted to lean towards. So so there's a couple. I've got a couple more that are pretty significant, but relatively the same story. But I was just really trying to find what I could do and how I could do it, and these people have really shaped the way that I wanted to do.
Yeah. What do you see yourself doing in 10 years' time?
10 years' time, what am I going to be, like 41? I don't know. I hope that in some way I'm still able to do what I'm doing, being able to share, practice culture, be a strong influence on the practices. And I think I just want to be, continue to be a part of the community and whatever way that looks like or however way it's going to turn out to be, I just hope that I'm still going to be able to, share what I know, my experiences, and just do it in a way that people are going to listen and understand. And where that's going to be and how that's going to look, I don't know yet. But it's just, I think, just overall arching, it's just going to be, I just want to still be doing what I'm doing, but in a broader capacity and not so localized. But I want to go out there a bit more and do some more work in all around. And if I can do that, then I'd be, I think I'd be set. That'd be good.
What's your dream for reconciliation?
That's a tough one. I think,
and I can give you a magic wand and as much money as you need.
I don't know. I just think just want people to listen and understand and not just assume that, because we're going out there and talking about the issues and talking about the barriers, that we're just doing it just for the sake of doing it. People are out there really wanting to make a change and make a difference and be the voice for the community and for our people. And I think that there's a lot of people out there that just put that to the side and don't really want to embrace the change. And I think that's one of the barriers, is that people aren't embracing culture. Whether you're black or you're not, people need to embrace it and be a part of it, because, we're, like I said, we're a culture worth of over 60 and 80,000 years. And that needs to be expressed, and how that's going to be expressed, I don't know. But people need to, I think they need to accept that black fellas are around, and we're going to be around for a long time. And, there's small steps we're making today to right those wrongs. But, I think it's going to take a lot of time, but I think that, we're in the right direction, but we just need to, we need to get people on board and like I said, embrace the change and embrace the culture for what it is.
I was going to ask you, are you starting to see change in the work that you do?
I think so. The work that I do professionally, not personally, but the work that I do professionally is, I deliver cultural training to my organisation and also externally as well. And I think one of the things that I've noticed in my work is that a lot of people are still unsure or are unaware of what had happened historically and what is still happening today. And the work that I've been able to do has given people a different perspective in how they can change and adapt their work capacity to support, the people they're working with. And I think, in a personal context with my business, and then obviously, with my artwork and stuff, I'm going to the preschools and I'm going to the schools, and the educators are asking questions. And one of the things that I've noticed when I first started was the educators, they have always wanted to do this work or put culture in their center, whether it's doing activity and stuff. But what they've been worried about is that they didn't want to be disrespectful, and they didn't want to, cause any offense. And to have someone, specific to do the work in their preschool, they've been able to take that and learn from what I've been able to teach, not just to the kids, but, the educators are also learning as well at the same time. And so then when I'm not there, they're able to do little bits and parts here and there, play with the clapsticks and listen to the songs and, do all that kind of stuff, because they were uncomfortable in being able to do that. And when I go in there, there's that sense of comfortability. So, and they're asking those questions. So whenever I'm going in there and then when I leave, they're still, putting those activities in their day-to-day curriculum as well. And we're getting some more people around this area too, doing some stuff in the preschools, which is awesome to see, because I think it's important that, it can't just sit with, the one person or the one group, have multiple people going to preschools and schools and do the work, because I think that's important, is around the education. And, like I said, when I was growing up in schools, there was no education. The schools were doing the ticker box kind of thing. But now, over the last couple of years, I've been able to go home and go into the schools that I didn't have a great cultural experience in, but I'm able to go into those schools, and I'm able to do my workshops with these schools with the kids, and the teachers that were taught me are still there, and so they were able to reflect on the times that when I was there, they understood. They said we didn't have a lot of education right behind it, we didn't know, but now they're actually starting to ask questions, and they're doing the work in the schools. My auntie is an elder back at home, and she's going in there once or twice a week and doing some yarning circles with the girls. Got my brother works there, Linton's there, he's doing yarning circles with the boys and doing a lot of cultural work with all the schools around home. And I've been going, I went to 3 or 4 different schools back at home, and the preschools as well back at home as well. And I think just the environment and the atmosphere that I've experienced is huge, and they've been able to embrace the change and accept it, and ask the questions and do the work that they're supposed to be doing, and putting it in their day-to-day curriculum, and really doing the listening to the songs, doing the dances. I just did an artwork for a preschool back at home, and they've hung it up, and even with the book coming out, I've already been hit up by one of the preschools back at home. They've asked me to come in during Reconciliation NAIDOC week time and do a reading for the kids. And so that's probably what I'm going to be doing anyways, is probably go back home, take a week off work, and go home and do some stuff in the schools and preschools while I'm down there. And they see that, they know that, and they're able to reach out and say, look, we want to do this activity, we want to do it properly, can you come in and share? And even I've got there's a girl back at home that's just finished her studies in Aboriginal studies. I can't remember what the course is called, but she's a proud black fella as well, and she wants to get into the business of going to the preschools and schools. So she's asking me, how do I do that? And so I thought, that's perfect. If there's someone local, they can do that on a regular basis. And so I think we are in the right direction. It's going to take a long time, but I think, especially with the schools in the education side of things, there's a lot of schools there that have really embraced it and are making the change for the better.
So what's the name of your business?
Sorry. Business is called Birrang Cultural Connections.
Yep. And what does Birrang mean?
Birrang means journey to another place in Wiradjuri language. Yeah. So I thought that was fitting, because I'm taking kids on a journey, but I'm also going on a journey myself. And I think it's to another place, whether it's wherever that place is going to lead. that's up to the individual. And I think that's, that was really fitting to start it up. So, yeah.
Do you ever take your kids into the trainings as well?
No, no, because they're already at preschool, they're already at childcare when I do it. I have done some work at my daughter's preschool. I've done some workshops with her in it, and she's getting up, sitting right up next to me, and that's my dad, and asking questions. So I said, "What's this?" And she popped her hand up. That's a didgeridoo, Dad. And so she already knows what the artifacts are. She already knows all the questions, and because I've been able to teach her that kind of stuff, at home as well. And I've done some, painted some totem poles and some rocks at the preschool as well. So she's come along with me doing that stuff with me as well. And I think haven't done much with me boy yet, but he'll get there. He's I'm gonna have to buy him a little didge to teach him how to play didge. But yeah, no, I think it's great. Especially when I go into my daughter's school or preschool she's able to stand up and say, this is what I know too, kind of thing. So she's only 4 years old. I think she's more educated than a lot of adults that I know.
Yeah, and the reason I asked you that is that for a little while I did take my daughter in with me.
Yeah.
Even when we went into her class, the same thing. She sat right next to me, and she became a bit like the Oprah Winfrey of the group. She was actually then directing questions to certain class members because I didn't know the names. So she said, "Put your hands up if anyone knows what this is." Yes, David, Yes, David, what do you think?
That's great.
So she started taking over my sessions.
That's awesome. No, look, I think I'll probably be doing that too once she's a little bit older, and try and get her in a little bit more. Yeah, that'd be good.
Hey, what's one thing that people often don't know about Taylor?
What's one thing that people often don't know about Taylor? I don't know. I feel like I'm an open book. People know a lot about me, really. I think. I don't think there's really anything that's a secret, or that they just, I think, I think I put a little bit too much on Facebook and Instagram and stuff, and, people are, they're checking out my journey and my story. So I don't think there's a lot that people don't know. No, I don't think so. I do like, when it comes to TV shows, I do like my crime shows, but I also like my little, me binge watches. So I'm keen to, like, I'm big into like Downton Abbey and all those kind of shows, but then I'll go to the other side and watch me Marvel shows and DC shows as well. So, I'm a bit of everything kind of guy, I think. I don't think there's really anything that not many people don't know, which is scary, really.
I know. Facebook's a scary thing.
I
put things up there all the time, and sometimes I don't even know what I put up there until someone comes up and says, I really like what you posted. I'm going, what did I post? Which one are you talking about?
Yeah, absolutely.
At the moment, our Indigenous affairs is pretty political at the moment. When you're doing training, do teachers often ask you those really hard questions like, so Taylor, what's your kind of understanding, or what's your experience about the voice or the Uluru Statement or the yes, no votes?
Look, I just say that I think that I don't think I'm educated enough to give a response to that. I'm still doing my own research, but I don't even, I'm not sure about the voice. I don't really have too much of an opinion on the voice and the yes, no. I don't even know. I'm still on the fence about that, and trying to do my own personal research to make sure I make the right decision when it comes to that. Some of the tough questions that I always get is, what's my stance on Australia Day? And, they're the generic kind of questions I get. How
do you answer that? What is your stance on Australia Day?
I don't celebrate it. I haven't celebrated it for a few years now, because I've been able to educate myself. But what I have done though, I've been approached by by the local council when it comes to the citizenship ceremony, and they've asked me to perform the Didge before the welcome to country with one of the local elders, and I've accepted that request because I'm guided by the elders in my community, and when I know that an elder's going to be there, they're going to be embracing that, and they're going to do the welcome to country. That I know that I'm sitting beside them doing that work as well. So that's the last few years I've been doing that. This year I didn't do that. I actually chose to do the Survival Day March. So I went and did that, which is a huge experience. I've never experienced anything like it. My cousin invited me along and took me along with her, and just to witness the environment and the things that people were saying was just was an eye-opening experience. But yeah, I don't even think it's about changing the date anymore. That was what it was like along, for a lot of number of years, and I don't think it's even got much to do about changing the date. But I think that we just need to be able to come together and embrace the culture, like I said, for what it is. And I hope that one day we can do that, and we don't have this every single year, these debates every single year, because it's tiring. When it comes to these things, you get all these questions every single year, and it just gets tiring, and you almost get over the whole thing, and it's exhausting. But yeah, that's.
I do think a lot of people don't realise, and this is going to go live to air in a month or so's time, but we're actually recording this on the 15th anniversary of. We are. The National Apology, yeah. Today. So we're actually, and that brings up a lot of emotions for people.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that's one thing that I do in my training: talk about the apology, and talk about the stolen gen, and that's one of the specifics that people in the training are unaware of, or have not heard or learnt enough to know or understand what has been the historical issues and the barriers that mob face, and they haven't really taken the time to understand around the intergenerational trauma and how that affects families and communities today. So we talk a bit about that, and especially when it comes to the apology speech and all that, what it comes with, and just the comments that people have made. They were just shocked at all the stuff that our stolen generation survivors and those that have passed on had faced and are still facing today. And that's another, that's one of the things that people, in the training, that they've acknowledged and they've accepted, and now when they leave the training, they're going to do their own individual research so that they can, better themselves personally and also professionally as well.
And I think you've got the same kind of belief that I do, that you can't train in a 3-hour session everything.
No.
But you're giving enough, you're making people's thought process change. So when you walk away, it's like, shit, I need to know more.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think, when I first start, the sessions, I say my job here is not to change a mind, but my job here is to educate and provide the barriers and the issues that happen historically and still today, so that you can then make your mind up around what you want to do. And I say, this is not everything that's going to learn. You're not going to learn everything about the Aboriginal culture in this one session. It's up to you to take that next step and to do your own individual learning, whether it's doing research online or going to further training. Because if you don't do that, this is just going to be a ticker box kind of thing, and we don't want that.
Do you still find organisations are calling you to be a bit of a ticker box every now and then?
No, I don't think so. Not in the work that I do. But I think in some ways with my workshops, with my business, when it comes to those significant dates, reconciliation, NAIDOC, you get these preschools and you get these, and schools that they message you good 6, 7, 8 months, 9 months, even 12 months in advance. So we want to get you in on this day, or, during this week, can you, pre-book us in? And then you get some that are, a week out, and they message you and say, hey, we've got this funding we need to spend for this event. Can you come? And I'm like, well, I don't think I can, because that just doesn't sit right with me, because I know what you're just doing it for the sake of doing it, because you need to spend a certain amount of money. And that doesn't, that doesn't sit right with me. It's not a very comfortable feeling. So, I prioritize people that are, really wanting to get involved in it. And when I know that they are, when they book in well in advance. But when it comes to, say, we've got an event that comes up, or, we need to spend a NAIDOC funding, and you message me 2-3 days or a week behind, then I know it's just like, you've only just worked it out that you need to do it straight away. And I'm like, no, I can't do that.
Yeah. Oh, don't we have to do it as part of our wrap?
Yeah, that's another one. Yeah. So, yeah, but yeah, like I think that I stand my ground with that kind of stuff, and I'll make it known that, I'm not a ticker box kind of workshop or business. I'm a, one that actually wants to make and embrace that change. And, you get I've gone to preschools multiple times throughout the last couple of years, because they wanted to get me to come back, because they've enjoyed it as much as the kids have enjoyed it. And, new kids come and go in the preschools, and they said, we want to, teach these new kids, and we want you to come back in. So, and that's what I like about when people, regular, preschools, they message me and they say, we want you to come back in, because, we really enjoyed it. And, yeah.
That's good. Look, I'm just going back to when I first met you and how green you were.
Oh, mate, I had no idea.
To looking at you now, launching a book,
yeah,
all your artwork, all your classes.
Yeah.
I don't hear anything ever bad about anything that you've achieved.
That's good. That's good to know.
And I want to say congratulations. But the last question I want to ask is, what message do you want people to walk away with tonight?
I think I've just been saying it the whole time. Just listen and ask questions, and if you're an ally, don't sit at the front, but just sit at the back, take a couple of steps back, have a look, see how mob engage and interact with one another. Because once you understand how we interact with one another, you could then change and adapt your approach to talk to people. And yes, we're blunt and straight to the point, but we're not all scary, and there's a lot of Aboriginal people that are willing to embrace that change and that really want to make a difference. And if we have allies that are standing beside us, wanting to be a part of that change, then come along. And I think the other one is just the biggest one is just ask questions, and that's what it really comes down to. Is if you have those discussions, or if we don't have those discussions and the really hard topics, then they're just going to be swept under the rug and no one's going to talk about them. And that's what I don't want. And that's why I do what I do. I'm here to, have those discussions, the hard discussions. If there's an ignorant comment or something that's offensive, I'll be there to challenge it. But I'm also not going to be, jumping down your throat. But, if I do challenge it, I'll spin it in a way that's going to be educational. And I think that's important as well.
Yeah. Look, I'm just watching the time. I want to say thank you very much for yarning with me tonight. And
it's gone quick. It's gone really quick.
It has gone really quick. It's been like, we've been on for nearly about 50 minutes.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But again, want to say thank you very much for joining us. And guys, join us for the next video podcast coming out in a couple of weeks. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, AJ. I appreciate it.